Good afternoon and welcome back. In the last lecture, we have seen how to solve a linear programming problem using simplex method. As you know, the simplex method is one of the most fundamental method or technique of solving LPPs in operation research. Now, in that lecture, the problem which we have considered was was consisting of only constraints of the type less than or equal to. Now, whenever less than or equal to type constraints are there with the right hand side positive, with the constant terms are positive, now in that case we need to introduce only those extra variables which are called slack variables. But if we have some constraints of the type greater than or equal to with right hand side positive or less than or equal to with right hand side negative or sometimes equality constraints, then in such cases we have to introduce one more variable which is generally referred as a dummy variable, and that dummy variable is called an artificial variable. Now, why do we need that? Because whenever there is constraint in the given LPP of this type, then your starting solution will be negative, that is infeasible solution. And for solving such a problem, we have two methods, namely two phase method and big M method. So whenever a constraint is greater than or equal to type with right hand side positive, or equality constraint, or less than or equal to type with right hand side negative, we need to introduce those extra dummy variables called artificial variables. I request Dr. Rajesh Thakkar in our studio from Kutch Adipur College, Tolani Science College of Adipur. He will explain that big M method, how to solve LPP when the starting solution or the initial solution is infeasible. Sir, please.
Thank you. Very good afternoon. Last time we had a simple method called simplex method, but as you know, life is not so simple every time, and we might have complicated situations. As sir just mentioned, one complication comes when we not everywhere in the constraint it might be greater than or equal to, but then as sir suggested, some more variables are required. So we'll just see what method can be helpful to us. You know, we have a bigger challenge now, and when bigger challenge is there, big methods have to be there. So we go to the first method of this kind, known as big M method. That's actually an advanced version of simplex method and follows on the similar path. But then we'll see what exactly is big M method. So we go to a small presentation on the screen, and we'll see what a big M method is. So this is a small presentation on big M method. The big M method actually is a version of the simplex algorithm which takes help of artificial variables to do the job. There are some steps, very roughly speaking. First of all, we have to modify the constraint so that right hand side of the constraint is non-negative. Then second step will be converting each inequalities into equations, like if we have less than or equal to type constraint, we add some variable called slack variable, but if we have a greater than or equal to type constraint, we have to subtract a variable called surplus variable. In the next step, we have to add an artificial variable to the constraints where we have greater than or equal to or equal to. If there is less than or equal to, we do not need to add artificial variables. We know that artificial variable is always non-negative. Next, once we do this process, then we go for a change in the objective function. If the LPP is a maximization problem, then we take minus m multiplied by the summation of artificial variables, and next, if it is a minimization problem, then we simply take plus m with the artificial variables. So finally, we solve the transferred problem by the simple simplex algorithm. So roughly these are the steps what we are going to do in big M method. We go to one example to understand it better. Little fancy way it is, minimize z equal to 5x1 plus 3x2 subject to constraints in the screen, 2x1 plus 4x2 less than or equal to 12, 2x1 plus 2x2 equal to 10, 5x1 plus 2x2 greater than or equal to 10. We can see that here first constraint is innocent enough, it is less than or equal to only, but then the second has equal to and the third is greater than or equal to. So, the version of simplex method which we studied last week cannot be of a greater help. So, we will have to go for another method. What we do is we are adding some variables and we will start it this way. First of all, we are taking less than or equal to, then slack variables are to be added. As we just mentioned, if we have greater than or equal to, then surplus, and equal to, then artificial variables. So, let us go for the process now. If we do the process, okay, we are having some additional variables. We can see that in the first constraint, we added a variable called x 3. We added it and it is a slack variable. In the second one, since it was equal to, we simply added artificial variable, and then we went to the third constraint where we had greater than or equal to. So, we had to subtract one variable and then one artificial variable was added to there. More importantly, our objective function has also changed. It is z equal to 5 x 1 plus 3 x 2, that is what it was, but now it is plus something called capital M multiplied by the addition of artificial variables. Actually, we can see here that artificial variables are multiplied by a number called m. In fact, m is a very big number. It is a very simple story. Actually, we want to minimize something. Okay. So, we want to remove artificial variables in a very decent manner, and so this process is done. Once we get this part, we convert this part into a tabular form. So, we go to our first table, which is looking like this. So, our simplex algorithm starts now, and our first table is going to follow. Our first table will contain the similar data, but in a tabular form. We can see here it is what normally we see in simplex method, again basis, capital X, all variables and a few more things. If you recall, in simplex method we took only slack variables in the basis. This time we are adding artificial variables to them. Actually, surplus variables are not appearing in the basis simply because they are working with a negative sign, and so the people working with a negative attitude can never proceed further. So, surplus variables are nowhere in the picture in the basis, only those with the positive attitude, I mean positive sign, are there. They are x 3, a 1 and a 2. More remarkably, we can see that our last row looks little strange, 5 minus 7 m, 3 minus 4 m, 0 m, 0 0. The question is, how did it come? We will go to the previous slide, which will again explain that. And in the previous line, if you observe, what we have is that our objective function is 5 x 1 plus 3 x 2 plus capital M into a 1 plus a 2. Now, value of a 1 can be obtained from the second constraint. If you can see second constraint, it is 2 x 1 plus 2 x 2 plus a 1 equal to 10. If we get a value of a 1 from this constraint, a 1 will be 10 minus 2 x 1 plus 2 x 2. Similarly, third constraint gives us the value of a 2. From the third constraint, we get a 2 equal to 10 minus 5 x 1 plus 2 x 2, I mean minus 2 x 2 and plus x 4. These values of a 1 and a 2 are put in the objective function, and so we get an objective function in capital M. So, once again we go on the same path, we go to table number 1 and the last row appears like this. Again the question arises, this gives our initial basic feasible solution, and that is x 3's value to be 12, artificial variables value to be 10 and a 2's value to be 10 again. But then as we know, we must not have a negative number in the last row, that is what we had in simplex method as well. We can see here that if capital M is a big number, say capital M is 10,000, then look at this 5 minus 7 m, it is actually 5 minus 70,000, big negative number. So, let us not bother about those 5 and 3, but we can see that minus 7 m is a big negative number. Similarly, in the x 2 column, minus 4 m is a big negative number. So, these two are big negative numbers. If you recall, we select the biggest negative number, rather somewhere farthest negative number from 0. So, 5 minus 7 m is the number which is the most negative number. Okay, so that is blinking now 5 minus 7, that is the most negative number, and naturally they have to be kicked out. So, we are highlighting that column, that column is the worst column for us for the time being. Like simplex method, we will find the ratios now. The ratios are given by x by x1. So, our flight will give us the ratios. The first ratio is 12 by 2, that is 6, then 10 by 2, that is 5, and then 10 by 5, that is 2. Okay. So, these are the ratios. So, this is what we were doing in the simplex algorithm as well, and now we will see what we can do further. So, for the further calculations, we will have to do some calculations. Once again, the same table appears on the board as well. We will do the ratio process again. We can see the same table on the board here. This is the table as we decided, this is the most negative number, and then after we decide, we find the ratios. So, in this case our ratios will be capital X divided by x1. So, our ratios will be capital X divided by x1. Okay. So, the ratios will be 12 divided by 2, that is 6, then 5, and then 2. Okay. Again, from these ratios we select the smallest positive ratio. We can see that 2 is the smallest positive ratio, and we select this row which has the smallest positive ratio. Okay. So, like we were doing in simplex algorithm, our first table is ready. We have got something called a selected highlighted column and then highlighted row. We can see that this point is in fact an intersection of that. We can see the same thing on the screen also. So, if you look at the presentation again, we will see that our 5 is blinking. So, that is the leading element or key element, what we can say is. Okay. Now, the next challenge is to go to the improved solution for table number 2. We come again on the board and try to see that what is to be done. As we know, we did in the simplex method as well, our special row, our highlighted row is divided by the leading element. So, the first change actually comes in the basis. This A2 is replaced by that x1. So, our basis changes now, basis becomes x3 A1 and this A2 replaced by x1. So, we have got rid of the first artificial variable. So, x3 A1 and x1, that is the basis. Then our selected row will be divided by the leading element. So, 10 divided by 5, that is 2, 5 divided by 5 is 1, 2 divided by 5 is 2 by 5, then 10 divided by 5 is 2, minus 1 by 5, 0 by 5 is 0, and then 1 by 5. So, we could fill in this row. Similarly, the special column is put 0 everywhere wherever we have a chance. It was x1 column. So, in x1 column we put zeros wherever we have a scope. Okay. So, this one row and one column is already filled in. The question is what way we can fill in the other rows. Actually, it is on the same path as we did in simplex, but still let us refresh that procedure. So, we look at this first row. The first row elements are these 12, 2, 4 and so on. We start writing them in a side. We are applying actually elementary row operations. So, we start writing them. It is 12. Since 2 is a member of the special column or highlighted column, we do not write it. So, 12, then 4, 1, 0, 0 and 0. Okay. So, these are the numbers which appear in table number 1. We want to change them to make suitable for table number 2. Okay. So, this is our older entries. Now, as we were doing in simplex, we are taking minus, minus, minus everywhere. Okay. You can see that like in simplex, we did not write 2. So, what we do is we will have to write this 2 now, and that will be divided by the leading element. So, divided by 5. Okay. So, again it is the same 2 by 5 everywhere. And finally, the elements of the corresponding elements of the special row is an A2 row which is selected. So, corresponding elements will take 12's corresponding element is 10, 2's corresponding element is 5 and so on. So, actually 2 is not taken there. So, 4's corresponding element will be 2. So, corresponding elements are the elements of the special row, they are 10, we do not take this, 10 to 10 minus 1. So, multiplied by 10 to 10 minus 1. If we proceed further, 10 to 10 minus 1, 0 and 1. If we calculate these numbers, we get the new first row. Okay. This is 12 minus this 5 and 2. So, this is 2 into 2 4, 12 minus 4 8. Okay. This is 2 into 2 4 by 5, in fact 5 into 4 20, 20 minus 4 16 by 5. Okay. Again 1 minus 4 minus 3, this is 0 and this is minus 2 by 5 multiplied by minus 1, that is plus 2 by 5. 0 and 0 will give you 0 and this is minus 2 by 5. So, our new row is ready with us. Now, this x 3 row is changed to a new row, it becomes now 8, 0 is already there, 16 by 5, we get the numbers from there. So, minus 3, 2 by 5, 0. Yes? Okay. We have 8 there. Okay, 8 is there, then 16 by 5 from there, then minus 3. Okay, that is all right. Okay. So, that is our first row. This is the process which we are already doing in the simplex algorithm. Similarly, we can fill in the other rows as well, like we did in simplex method, but I would like to focus on the last row, because last row is little strange. So, let us see what that last row will be. So, we will calculate again last row. For that, what we do is we will write down the older rows. So, if we look at this old row 5 minus 7 m, we are not bothered about it because it is a part of the selected column, but the other elements we have to take care of. So, they are 3 minus 4 m, then 0, then m, then 0 and 0, again minus every time. Okay. The element which we did not write is 5 minus 7 m, we will have to write it now. So, 5 minus 7 m, of course, divided by the leading element, that is 5. Okay, and that will be multiplied by the corresponding elements. 3 minus 4 m's corresponding element is 2, because it is an element of the special row. 0's corresponding element is 10 and so on. So, with 3 minus 4 m we have to put 2, then 10 minus 1 0 1, 10 minus 1 0 and 1. We have to be careful in calculating these numbers, because